Artificial intelligence once sounded like science fiction. Today, it is everywhere. From Netflix recommending your next movie to banks flagging suspicious transactions. But while it feels effortless on the surface, there's a hidden cost every time you use AI. Behind the screen, massive machines are working, and those machines come with billion-dollar bills. Let's start with the basics. Every time you ask ChatGPT a question or use Google's Gemini, you're not really talking to your phone. You're connecting to giant warehouses filled with computers called data centers. These centers now consume about 2% of the world's total electricity, and that share could triple by 2030, according to the International Energy Agency. In some places, the strain is already visible. In Northern Virginia, the world's largest data center hub, local authorities had to pause housing projects because so much power was being diverted to keep AI servers running. Each of these centers houses chips that cost between $30,000 and $40,000 a piece, and companies buy them by the tens of thousands. Training a modern AI model, essentially teaching it how to think, is incredibly expensive. OpenAI's GPT-4 reportedly cost over $100 million just to train. Google and Anthropic are spending similar amounts, and training the next generation of models could push costs into the billions of dollars. Even after training, simply running the AI to answer everyday queries isn't free. Analysts estimate that each ChatGPT query costs the company around 4 cents. That sounds tiny, but when millions of people use it daily, the expenses add up to millions of dollars per week. So, who's actually making money from this? As in every gold rush, the biggest winners are the ones selling the shovels. In this case, the shovels are the chips and the computing power. NVIDIA, which produces the leading AI processors, saw its market value soar past $4 trillion in 2025, making it one of the most valuable companies on Earth. Cloud providers like Microsoft Azure, Amazon Web Services, and Google Cloud are also cashing in by renting computing power to businesses. The model creators, OpenAI, Anthropic, Google DeepMind, have become household names, but most of them are still spending more than they earn. And finally, thousands of application startups are trying to apply AI to healthcare, finance, education, and customer service. Most of them will fail, but a handful may grow into the next big winners. Here's the twist: AI isn't yet making the world cheaper. In fact, in some areas, costs are rising. Compute scarcity is the first challenge. Because demand for chips far outstrips supply, prices have shot up. A single NVIDIA H100 chip sells for $30,000 to $40,000, and sometimes even more on the secondary market. Startups face the brunt of this because they cannot pre-book capacity like cloud giants do. Then comes power and cooling. Training one large model consumes enough electricity to power thousands of homes for a year. In Ireland, regulators warn that data centers already consume 18% of the nation's electricity, and this could rise to 30% by 2030. Water is another hidden cost. In Oregon, a Google data center consumed over 1.2 billion liters of water in 2021, just for cooling, roughly equal to the needs of a town of 10,000 households. There's also the rising cost of data itself. To avoid lawsuits, companies are paying millions to license books, news, and scientific archives. Some even hire armies of human workers to label and clean data so models learn more accurately. And finally, safety and complexity add their own price tags. Enterprises demand evaluation, auditing, and guardrails before they adopt AI. And as companies deploy multiple models for different tasks, orchestrating them without waste becomes yet another expense. With costs so high, the big question is, who actually makes margins in AI today? Some rely on subscriptions. OpenAI's $20 per month ChatGPT Plus plan provides recurring revenue. But heavy users can eat into profitability unless there are usage caps or premium tiers. However, these companies are majorly running in losses. Others run on API usage, charging businesses every time they call a model. This makes adoption easy, but links revenue directly to cost. so margins remain razor thin unless efficiency improves. The real profits are being found in enterprise services. If AI can cut call center costs by 30% or speed up insurance claims by 40%, businesses will happily sign 6- or 7-figure contracts. These measurable returns on investment are where margins shine. And then there's advertising and commerce. Google and Meta, already powered by ads, are using AI to sharpen targeting and predictions, unlocking billions in extra value from the same ad budgets. Finally, distribution matters. Microsoft embedding Copilot into Office, Salesforce adding AI into its CRM, or Adobe building it into Photoshop gives incumbents a massive edge. For a small startup to compete, it must be 10 times better than the bundled version users get for free. Naturally, people ask, what about jobs? Will AI take them away? The answer is complicated. A Goldman Sachs report estimated that AI could affect or automate tasks equal to 300 million jobs worldwide. But affect does not mean erase. In offices, AI can write draft reports, but people still finalize them. In hospitals, AI scans X-rays faster than a radiologist, but the human doctor still makes the call. In law firms, AI may draft a contract, but lawyers still argue in court. History shows this isn't new.
When ATMs arrived, people feared bank tellers would vanish. Instead, the number of bank branches in the US actually grew by 40% between 1980 and 2010 as tellers shifted to customer service roles. AI will likely follow the same pattern. Jobs will change, tasks will be repriced, and those who learn to direct AI instead of competing with it will thrive. Over time, the cost of each AI answer, what experts call inference, will come down. When that happens, many companies will vanish and only a few will survive. The winners will be firms with unique data no one else can copy, companies with strong distribution channels like operating systems or cloud platforms, and vertical players who can prove hard savings or revenue gains in industries like fraud detection, healthcare, or compliance. Chip makers and cloud providers will continue to profit for a while, though competition will eventually compress their margins. The losers will be the dozens of copycat chatbots, niche apps that can be bundled into bigger suites, and model companies that cannot differentiate on either cost or quality. In other words, when answers get cheap, the scarcest resources won't be chips anymore. They'll be trustworthy data, global reach, and measurable outcomes. AI isn't just about companies. It's also a matter of national power. The United States and China are leading the race not only because they have the most advanced technology, but also because they control the energy and chip supply chains. The US alone accounts for over 50% of global AI investment, while China is not far behind. Smaller countries like those in Europe or India must choose: rely on US and Chinese technology or invest billions to build their own. Energy is also becoming a dividing line. Nations with cheap, reliable electricity, Canada with hydropower or Saudi Arabia with solar, are turning into AI hubs. The economics of AI may soon reshape the global balance of power. But let's step back and ask a consumer question. If AI becomes so advanced that it replaces large numbers of workers, who will actually buy the products and services it creates? After all, workers are also consumers. Without jobs, there's no income. Without income, there's no spending. Some economists argue this could lead to governments providing a universal basic income, funded by taxes on super profitable AI companies. Others believe that, like previous waves of technology, AI will make people more productive, not permanently unemployed. After all, the printing press destroyed the jobs of scribes, but it also created entirely new industries, from publishing to journalism.
If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.